entitled Neuromarketing, Decoding the Why Behind Our Choices by Dr. Dunia Harajli. And it gives me great pleasure to present to you Dr. Harajli, who used to be my professor at the Executive MBA program. And when she gave us this course about neuromarketing, it made us look at the world in a different way, and it left us with a great impact. So thank you, Dr. Harajli. Our distinguished speaker is Dr. Dunia Harajli, Assistant Professor of Practice at Adnan School of Business. She currently teaches neuromarketing, business communication, cognitive analytics, and civic engagement. She joined LAU in 2008 and serves on several LAU committees and is a part-time marketing consultant. She is also involved in several social work initiatives. Dr. Harajli is an active member in the Neuromarketing Science Business Association, in the European Marketing Association, Academy of Management, and the Scientific Research Honor Society. Dr. Harajli, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Is the voice clear? Can we have the first slide? Good afternoon. It's with great pleasure that I'm here today. It's not going to be easy to cover in 1 hour what I usually give in an average of 35 hours. Yet I will try my best to at least trigger some curiosity, and with my students, hope they will come up with further critical thinking questions to address me at the end. I want you to look at the PowerPoint, and I want you to see the images of LAU. And tell me, what's the first word that comes to your mind? What do you feel? Nature? You haven't been in LAU for a long time. Nostalgia. Memories. Old building. Familiarity. Cats. Sorry? Stress. Maybe because we're in a final exam period. Did you say stress? Home. Who said home? Yes, our second home. So why are you here today? Is it to find out more about neuromarketing? According to Homo economics, the rational side of economics, you're here because you want to find out more, gain more knowledge, and see what neuromarketing is all about as a scientific field. However, why are you really here today? When you saw LAU, what did you feel? Home, nostalgia, memories. Why are you really here? To meet you. Nice meeting you. To study for your final revision? Okay, and to Adnan. Actually, it's the emotions that's guiding your behavior. You could get this knowledge from anywhere else, but you choose to come because this is your second home. And this is the thing that drives all our behavior, our emotions. My story, as Ghada was saying, I started teaching in 2008, and a myriad of different marketing subjects. However, my passion was always psychology. It was always neuroscience. There is not one issue of psychology today in the American scientific mind I had not read from a very early age. And so I always wondered, what is it really that drives human behavior? And this is not just about consumers. As human beings on a very fundamental and deep level, what guides our choices, our moods, our perceptions, our attitudes, and in the end, the decisions that we make? And this is what drove me deeper into finding out through neuroscience the reasons of why, what makes consumers buy, what makes consumers decide. So you see a lot of products, and according to a Harvard research and Nielsen in the States, 1 out of 8 succeed. So that means 7 out of 8 fail. What percentage is that? That's more than 80%. To be specific, 87.5 of products fail. And we ask why. Hasn't there been enough research going on? Didn't they prepare themselves? Didn't they ask consumers? Yes, they did. But yet they still fail. Why is that? Because the way we gather data and information is not enough. Because what people say is not necessarily what they think or feel way beneath. What we say consciously is not what we feel subconsciously. And this is why to ask people in interviews, in focus groups, in surveys, and gather this data and analyze it is simply not enough and is lacking something. And we're going to see examples about that. All right, first, let's talk about the monopoly. Monopoly has been there forever. When they changed the packaging, what happened? No one wanted to play the game anymore. Monopoly is not about buying and actually playing the game. Monopoly is an emotional association that we have to a memory in our childhood. We're not buying a game of Monopoly. We're buying to feel the emotion. So this is why when they changed the package, sales went down. Cigarettes, when we put those damaged lungs on the cigarette boxes, did that did that get to the message of reduced consumer spending on cigarettes? No. The opposite. Actually, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars social campaigning, and they did research. And they actually asked the participants, if you see damaged lungs on a cigarette box, how do you feel? Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, I won't want to buy that. Sure, the results were very positive. Go ahead, campaign. Suddenly, sales increased. So it had the opposite effect. So if you tell me I was asking people, we asked hundreds of thousands of smokers, okay, hundreds of thousands of people, and the results we got gave us the wrong conclusion. So what's the result? The result is, or the conclusion is, there must be something deeper than what people say. So using neuromarketing tools, which we'll have an idea about today, going into the brain and seeing what areas are stimulated in response to a stimuli, or to a product, or to a design, we will find out. When we put the EEG people seeing the damaged lungs, what happened in their brain? The amygdala started firing up, which means the center in the brain responsible for emotions. There's an emotional attachment to a cigarette. Anyone smokes here? Yes, you don't want to tell me? Okay, so you would know the emotional attachment to a cigarette. So when the brain sees a damaged lungs, the first signal is, oh my God, someone's trying to take that whom I'm in love with away from me. I'm going to be taken on cigarettes even more. That's the research. That's what the research said. So you ask me what to do if that's the case. How do we reduce smoking? What we do is we do a campaign to kind of prime or change people's behavior without them being aware of it. And one of the things is healthy living campaign, working out, hiking, meditation, and then you know what? Smoking started getting reduced. Okay, you cannot persuade people with messages straight on because we have a resistance inside us as humans. When you try to force something onto someone, they're going to say no. And what resists? Persists, right? Coke and Coca-Cola and New Coke. New Coke was a total fiasco. New Coke was a total fiasco. And the reason, yes. All right. The reason being is there was a war going on between Pepsi and Coca-Cola. And when there was a blind test, what happened was, when they were not told whether this was Coke or Pepsi, I mean, people voted which one did they like more when they didn't know what the brand was. Pepsi. The taste of Pepsi was a bit sweeter. So most of them liked Pepsi. However, when they were shown the brand, Coca-Cola, suddenly the majority liked Coke. And that was like confusing at the time when they didn't do the studies. But later on, when they did neuromarketing studies on people's brains, and they found out what happens when they see Coke. What happens on a neural level? Okay, Pepsi is interesting. It does light up a part of the brain where it's, there is a preference for Pepsi because of the taste. Yet when we see Coke, the brand, the amygdala and the hippocampus shines up. They fire up. What does that mean? Hippocampus for memory, amygdala for emotion. Emotion and memory work together. This is why when they saw the Coke, it's reminiscent of a past. Therefore, this is why they chose it. So you asked me, were they actually choosing Coke for the taste? No, they were choosing Coke for the emotion. That's your choice. I mean, if you think about it right now, if I ask you to remember a teacher who taught you in school, and if you remember the subject that she taught you, it's because you were emotionally engaged. Because when you're emotionally engaged, you have a high recall. And that's what happened with Coke. So what did Coke do? Oh no, there's a war between Coke and Pepsi. We're gonna introduce new Coke. And you know what? They like the sweeter taste. We're gonna make it sweeter. Let's make it sweeter. Bye-bye Coca-Cola. New Coke. Fiasco. What they didn't know was you cannot change the packaging, the name, Coca-Cola became New Coke, and expect the consumer to like it. What was really shocking was that they lost $82 million. I'm talking decades ago, when they started in the 80s, 1985, with New Coke. They lost $82 million simply because they did traditional research methods on 200,000 people. 200,000 participants said New Coke tasted great. They would definitely buy it. They love it. Out on the market, nothing. So this is the famous, sorry for the misspelling right there. This is the famous iceberg. 95% of our decisions, our choices, our behaviors are guided and driven by our subconscious. That's huge. And you know something? I teach marketing, especially to my students. Teaching marketing for me is teaching consciousness. How to become conscious. How to become conscious about your subconscious. So how to be aware of the decisions that you make and the drivers that are responsible for that decision, for that perception, for the choices that you make. And this is why this is not just about marketing, and I always say it, this is about understanding the human being on a very deep, fundamental level. It's usually brain science, so we said there's biology in it, neuroscience, behavioral economics, why we choose what we choose, and social psychology. And today we'll try to cover a little bit about attention, emotion, and memory. What catches your attention? Can you pay attention to something without being aware of it? Can you? I'm not aware of something. Can I pay attention to it?
No.
Yes. My students استرجعوا no. Okay. Actually, you're driving your car. There's a billboard. You're not paying attention to it. You're driving. However, it's there. I'm standing right here. I'm looking at you in the middle. All of you in the middle. I'm actually not seeing those on the periphery, but my subconscious visual is taking all of it in. And it will show at a later point in time. You might be in the supermarket later and you might make a choice and I ask you, why are you buying this? Oh, it's because my mom said this is a good product. Not really. You've actually seen it on a billboard. There has been a frequency of exposure that has triggered your familiarity to the product, which made you like it, which made you choose it and then buy it, but you're not aware of the reason. So you go back and you think, wow, 5 How free really am I? But there's a way of understanding those dynamics. So, some say 95% of all our decisions, yes. Some say 90, okay. More than 80% of products fail, all right. 200,000 times our subconscious thought is processed faster than conscious thought. It's fast compared. Hello?
You know, other people are trying to do their laundry too.
Oh.
Felicia, those are her whites in the dryer.
Okay. Focus groups, interviews. What do you think of this ad? The majority said, we don't like it. No, this would fail. Don't do this ad. It's mean. However, when we did neuromarketing tests on participants seeing this ad, how did they feel? They loved it. Great, the sense of revenge, that innate instinct of us, get her back, do that to her, was so high. So what they said, we can't really depend on what they say, right? Because they said, no, don't. However, neuroscience shows us a totally different story. Shows us what's really inside. Okay. So what's really inside is our emotional brain. Reptilian instinct is what keeps us. It's our physiological side. We're breathing, we're moving, and then it's emotion, and then the rational brain. We think we're rational. We think we're really rational. We're so overconfident about it. We're anything but rational. I made a decision. You know what? It feels good. Did you ever say that? It feels good. Why are you saying it feels good? Why do you say it feels good? Not it was good. The decision rationally. Because it's an emotion. Because emotions contain data. And the data that you get from your emotions is from your instinct. It's from everything that you've been experiencing and putting inside you. Okay, we spoke about that. So emotions are way larger than rationality. Okay, I spoke about the amygdala and the hippocampus. So do you know the story of Japan? Do you know how they introduced Nescafe to Japan? I mean, Japanese are into tea, right? Yeah. They don't like coffee at all. So what Nestle did was it sent samples, this is decades ago, and they started doing tastings with Japanese participants, and the Japanese loved the coffee. So this is great, we love it. It was done on hundreds of thousands of participants that Nestle was so confident of putting in that Nestle coffee in Japan. And again, what happened? Failure, complete failure. What they didn't know was that you cannot come in and just change a habit. They have a culture. They have a habit of drinking tea for generations. And here you are. You ask them, sure, it tastes good. Good coffee, not enough. Their choice of purchase behavior is not what they say. It's the habit, okay? It's the element of familiarity, what they're familiar with. And they're not going to change it, even if they say they are. So what did they do? They said, hold on, let's introduce it gradually. Obviously, they have no emotional connection because they did testing. And they started with candy. Candy that was coffee-based, had the flavor of coffee for little kids in Japan. And they waited 2 generations up for those kids to grow up, familiarizing themselves with the taste of coffee. And this is how coffee entered Japan, and now it's all over. That's the story of coffee. Tropicana.
$7 million.
Yes. You still remember that. Okay, a campaign, a huge amount of money, millions of dollars spent in market research to change the packaging to this. And what happens? Sales go down 20%. They lose, talking 10 years ago, more than an average of $32 million. And the competitors of Tropicana are very happy. They're getting customers. Hold on, but it's still Tropicana. Why aren't people buying it anymore? Because this orange meant something to them. Because it's an element of familiarity. You can't reintroduce and change a packaging. If you do want to do that to your product, you need to do it gradually. You need to keep the key elements there, just like Coke. New Coke was a fiasco, so what they did, they went back to the old Coke, Coca-Cola, the original. And right now they're introducing the glass. Remember our grandparents? They used to have the glass Coke. It's coming back. It's coming back. Same concept. How about the Wrangler? Oh, let's make a different design for the Wrangler car. Let's go from the circles to the squares. What happened was people didn't want to buy the Wrangler anymore when they went from circle headlights to square. The headlights mean something to the consumer. They see the Wrangler as a wild horse running free. Okay? This is what they see, adventure, and it has personality. It's like eyes. Okay? So when they changed it, they don't want the Wrangler anymore. Simple as that. And how do they find out? With EEG, I'm going to be talking about this, neuromarketing tools, they found out there was no wiring in the brain of neurons in the amygdala. There was no emotional attachment. Okay, no emotional reaction when they saw the car with the square headlights. So what's all this about? Actually, our life revolves around how we make decisions, right? How many decisions do we make every day? From when you wake up to what you want to wear, to who you're going to meet, to what you're going to do, to planning your life. Our whole life is based on decisions. And the thing is, with the award-winning Daniel Kahneman, I truly recommend this book, which is a textbook in Isadi University for neuromarketing, by the way. This is the textbook they use. It's called Thinking Fast and Slow. He won a Nobel Prize for it because he spoke about dual processing. The way we process information is on two systems. System one, fast, effortless, without thinking, instinct. And system two would be more rational and thinking. And most of the time, we are living system one. We're all in system one. Do you know why?
Because we are rational.
Yes, because our brain is not there to hold so much load. Our brain is there to create meaning of the world around us. And as a survival tool, it's there to alert you to danger. So you're not going to remember everything that happens in your life. There's no purpose behind that. You're only going to remember the things that are emotionally heavy because they're going to alert you to danger. Do you agree? Yeah. That's system one and system two. So system one is in charge most of the time. We like to be on autopilot. When we think a lot, we get tired when we think a lot. Because our body expands energy. Specifically, what's in the body? Glucose. All right? I'm سامع الدرس هون. Okay, specifically glucose. And so this is why we try to save energy. We say our brain is a cognitive miser. بخيل. ما بيحب يصرف. Doesn't like to expand energy. This is why we're most of the time on system one, unless we're forced to. And many times, when we think with system two, it's only to reconfirm what system one has already decided. So you rationalize it. So it's not even system two. A bat and a ball together, not my students, a bat and a ball together cost $1.10. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? 10. 0.10. Bravo, Nana. 0.10. Ahmad, you can't answer. You can't answer. All right, I can see that the majority of you said 10. And yes, don't feel bad because in Harvard Business School, 70% said 10. Who said other than 10? مش أنتم. Yes. 0 point? 0.10. Yeah, 10 cents or 0.10 is the same, yes.
Does not matter how much.
It doesn't matter how much.
How much the bag costs.
It does matter. Actually, look what we do. Our brain always goes for the easy way out. We look for shortcuts. Why does the brain look for shortcuts? Simply because it doesn't want to expend any energy. So the shortcut was 10, but it's not so. A bat altogether costs 10, and $1.10, the bat costs 1. This is what you did. You removed the more than the block. You removed that. So if you do the math, you will see that's actually 5. Okay, it's 5. Yeah. But you know what? A lot of us answer so many questions this way. Why? Because we want the easy way out. We want shortcuts. This is a mental shortcut. That's what we do with a lot of things in our life we're not aware of. Then if you think about it, for example, if I ask you what's 374 times 2023? No one. Well, don't even try. No one can give me an answer.
1 million.
Except you, Naji. Okay, we have a calculator right here. Living calculator. This will be system 2. This will not be system 1 because you're going to be forced. It's a big calculation you have to make. That would be system 2. And I've done a lot of research on this, and we found out that the more you're educated, the more likely you are to use system 2. Okay? So education is actually how we make decisions. I'm going to show you a few examples of so many that I have actually on how we make decisions. And those are called judgment heuristics. Have you heard the word judgment heuristics before?
Yes.
Cognitive biases, psychological distortions. I've done research about decision making, and most business students and business, graduates move on to take, leadership positions and managerial positions in businesses. And what they need to do is take the right decisions, the optimal decisions, we call them. How can you take an optimal decision when you're actually taking mental shortcuts? You're going to be filled with psychological distortions and biases that are going to blur optimal decision making. What do? Usually with my students, I've taught them, and I've done a research about this, it was just published in a book chapter, you need to do mindfulness techniques, mindfulness.
Meditation.
And in through mindfulness, like meditation, whereby you are conscious of your non-conscious. You are thinking about your thinking. So if I think a thought, I'm thinking, why has this thought come in my mind? What triggered it? If I feel a certain response, what's the reason behind it? What's fueling it? What's feeding it? My level of awareness would be high. If I reach that point, then when it's time to take a decision, neuromarketing would help for you to take an informed decision and choice. Look at this. This was a car pass and for like a car wash. And they asked which of these loyalty cards is more likely to get redeemed. If you take card A, you will get a free car wash after 8 paid washes. If you do card B, you get a free car wash after 10 washes. The first 2 are filled in. Which do you think gets more redeemed?
It's the same.
The same?
No,
They are the same. Yes, who said they are the same? Yes, they are the same. They are the same, but which one will get more redeemed?
the second one. Yalla.
Okay, why?
You get to fill it yourself and you keep track.
Yes, once you have the impression, your mind has the impression that you have already started doing something, you're more likely. If you think it's better, you're more likely to finish. Once you put something in process, you think that you're more likely to finish it. So you think it's better. And this is why card B, we had 34% redeemed. Yes, this is system one. This example right here on the Economist magazine, it was a subscription. And with this one, it was, a subscription online to the Economist. Online was it was $59. The online and the print was $32. So what they did was they put something in the middle, that has $125 next to the print and web. So you say, hold on a second. Print and web together, 125. And that alone is 125. So no. That's a really good deal. From the beginning, they wanted you to buy this option. So what they did was they just placed this one here so you could take a shortcut and choose it. Does that make sense?
Decoy.
Actually, humans don't make a lot of sense. Oh. Okay, the last one, like this one, you go to the supermarket, people prefer 75% lean ground beef. They prefer that to what? To 25% fat ground. They're the same. It's just linguistic framing. Okay? And you really believe it. That's all it is. That's judgment heuristics. Okay? Don't overwhelm the consumer with too many choices. Research has shown that we don't like. Go somewhere and they show you so much choices, you're going to be lost. And in the end, you're not going to make that choice. Okay, so limit the choices. And for example, here only 3% bought a jar when they were 24. However, when they were 6, 30% bought a jar. That's a huge difference. Simply by putting less options. Why? Because when you put a lot of options, what do you do to the human brain? Yeah, you're getting tired. The brain doesn't like to hold any cognitive load. Remember, it's a cognitive miser.
Short.
Doesn't like to expand energy. So you know what? That's too many choices. In the end, you're barely buying. So less choices, more decisions. That's also judgment heuristics. Last, well, priming. When they were served orange juice, as they saw happy faces, smiley faces. We know that in the hospitality. You tend to pour more orange juice, you drink more orange juice, and you can say that you're paid more. Simply if she was smiling before serving you the orange juice. Is that anything but emotional? It's emotional, right? All right. So, as I was saying, what I usually do to reduce the judgment heuristics, okay, and the cognitive biases, we do mindfulness techniques and mindfulness meditation. This has been proven scientifically to enhance your consciousness, your awareness, the dynamics of the subconscious, that you understand yourself on a much deeper level. And therefore you understand what drives your emotional responses to an array of stimuli around you. And these could be in relationships, at the workplace, professional or personal life.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
All right, this, do you hear me? Yeah. Okay, this commercial was a big hit. You might see it as something very simple, however, it was a big hit. Simply because first they don't start by saying what the product is. Okay, you see, especially if you're a dog, if you like dogs, you see the dog is alone. He's scratching on the wall. It's got an emotional appeal to it, and in the end, they tell you what the message is. A lot of advertisements that are really working begin by emotionally engaging you first, and in the end, after you are emotionally engaged, when you see the brand or the logo or what the service or product is trying to communicate with you, you will have higher recall. Because as I said, you remember the things that you're emotionally engaged with. So they don't want to start from the beginning saying what the product is. Most of the successful ads work this way. So So there's a lot of research out there saying that what we see is processed so much faster in our brain than what we read. And there's a lot to this, okay? Colors. There's a lot of research that says that you choose a product because of its color. And what I've just presented, actually just finished a paper on color. And the main point was, you know how you have certain attributes, you know, linked to a color, for example, red for excitement and energy, green for nature, blue for trust and confidence and calming. So what happened was, I asked my participants, what attributes, like do you feel calm with this color? And the thing that was really interesting was when I placed in the second part of the survey a can, just a simple can, and asked them again about the color, but the color was on a plain can with no logo, without anything. The attributes diminished. It means if you felt calm if you saw blue, the next time I ask you, I feel calm, and you see blue, but you see blue on a can, you don't feel as calm. So conclusion, color does not evoke in you that attribute or that emotion. It's also the context on which that color is placed. When placed on a can or something else is different. And that's my, if you want my added value to my latest research with that. Okay, so create motion. Motion, we like motion. The brain likes motion. The brain likes surprises. The brain likes contrast. You're sitting in the class and someone moves outside. You pay attention without even realizing. You turn heads. Okay, it's intriguing. It's engaging. Ambiguity. Storytelling. Does the brain like storytelling? Big time. I mean, most of the holy books are all based on storytelling and narratives also. There was a study done on novels. They bring a book such as they bring a movie or a book such as Silence of the Lamb, and they ask the respondents to watch the movie and say how they feel. Then they ask them to watch a podcast and to listen to a podcast and then say what they feel. When they watched the movie, they said they were interesting. The movie was interesting, and preference areas in the brain lit up. However, when they listened to the podcast, we noticed that their heartbeat went up and they were more emotionally engaged, and their blood pressure went up. And they say galvanic skin response, which means the sweat glands also were higher. So they were more engaged with listening than watching the movie. So I would go a step further and say, how about if you read a book? From your imagination, how engaged are you with reading a book versus a podcast? Okay, our brain is faces, natural faces. Okay, those are the two major neuromarketing tools. fMRI, not used so much because it's not really scalable. It's very expensive and the number of participants is limited. And it works on the blood flow in the brain. You see, when one part of the brain is working a lot, blood rushes to that area. And this is how we know, all right? There's a magnetic field in this. And this is how we know which areas of the brain are being stimulated. The EEG that you see on the other side used to be a whole room. Right now you can get it with Bluetooth. Okay, it measures the electrical activities in the brain. But still, not one tool is enough on its own. This is why we triangulate, which means we use several things together to form a conclusion about what's happening in consumers' or participants' brain when they are exposed to stimuli. I don't want to go so much in detail on the different tools. We also have eye tracking. Have you ever seen eye tracking?
Yes.
Eye tracking shows where you're looking, how long you look at a certain place, how often you blink. So showing us where your interest lies when you see a product, a new package, an ad, and it helps in product design too. When you blink, blinking is a form of going from one thing to another. When you're really focused on something, you're really interested in something, do you blink? I think your gaze will be head. Okay? You will not blink. Blinking happens when you're actually going from one thought to the other subconsciously. When you're extremely interested in something, you don't blink. And your pupil dilates. Okay, that's when you're interested. Okay, so this is an ad. This is an ad we're going to see. We're going to be seeing the overall engagement, the emotional engagement, and the red part is where the consumer is actually looking. Okay. Yeah, it's an old ad. You can see when the participants or viewers were emotionally engaged with this ad. Okay, so right now, car companies are using neuromarketing tools to find out before they actually launch new models of what catches your attention when you first see a car, what you look at more, and they're taking that data to direct their product designs, new product designs. Okay, so those are part of the tools that we use, and there's something called reaction time testing. You know what that is? Reaction time testing is the software I use for most of my research. It's how fast and the rhythm at which you answer a question. And I think I'm going to give you examples right now that would really show you what reaction time testing. The first answer you give, or if I ask you a question and I ask you like yes or no, and you say yes or no, I don't know if you've ever done such a survey. Sometimes I'm not looking for the yes, and I'm not looking for your no. I'm looking for how fast you tell me yes, or how fast you tell me no, because that's your subconscious. That's the implicit activation of associations that you have within. Okay, this is how I really understand you. Those are some of the different companies that have all used Neuromarketing to direct their marketing strategies, their product designs, their ads, and all that. Okay. Also, this was the old to Neuromarketing. They told them that the writing was not recognizable. It was too small, and that the cookie could be a little bigger. So, as with Neuro advice, they changed, and also with the candle, they said the logo has to stay the same, but they changed the image a little bit. Okay, those are other companies too that have all used neuromarketing, including CBS, yes. Because the information they get a return on their product. They have more assurance of their product not failing, or they reach their consumers better. It's growing. I go to neuromarketing conferences all around the world, and I'm one of the few professors. The majority of people in those conferences are trying to sell the tools to businesses so they can use them, for product design and for marketing strategies. Reaction time testing. I used it during COVID-19, and Ghada actually was talking to me today, and she said something interesting. She said, when we used to make the alumni lectures, we used to get so much people, we used to get chairs, and if it wasn't enough, we would go to the big auditorium in Irwin, because there was so much alumni rushing in. What has happened? It all started with COVID. I told her it all started with COVID, but there's a lot more than COVID in Lebanon. We've been dealing with every single crisis you can ever think of. Political, financial, economic, environmental, everything. Health, Beirut explosion, which we did not get over. Consciously, maybe yes, subconsciously, not really. The earthquake, and now the war. And the horrifying things that we're seeing, the painful images that we actually have to see every day. So, there's a lot of reasons why the alumni are not like before. A lot of reasons, and guides their behavior. So this is a study that I did with many other countries during COVID-19. So I just picked 2 slides that I shared reaction time testing with you. So we asked them, we will overcome the virus soon. Look at the different countries and look at Lebanon. Lebanon is 64% of the Lebanese said yes. Okay? I think Turkey is 76. But the interesting thing is 47% said fast yes. So what this says is they're pretty sure 47% of the 64 feel that they will overcome the coronavirus soon. Compared to other countries, 47 is the highest confident System 1 score. And showing really the collective resilience that we have, the thing that will overcome it. Other nations, it was just too much for them to bear. Another thing that's kind of cute is we asked them, I wash my hands for 20 seconds when necessary. Look at all the countries. In Lebanon, we rushed to say yes. 60% said yes. But how many of the 60% fast yes? Only 20% of the 60% answered fast yes, which means if it comes down to it, they're not going to spend 20 seconds washing their hands. You see the difference between what you say and how you really feel. This is what we test. And those are the results that we actually get. To move to a more serious tone is the Beirut explosion versus the COVID. So when we asked, I would like to help people who are less fortunate, 94% said yes. In reality, only 37% said a fast yes. And in COVID, it was 82 to 32, which means a lot of people would say, we asked them, like, would you help someone who's vulnerable, maybe sick? And everyone would say, yes. Okay, yes, yes. But then when we actually measure in a millisecond, the confidence of that yes, and by the way, this is an algorithm that's been scientifically validated. Those people that answer fast every time or answer slowly, outliers, we take them out. So this is scientifically validated. This is the truth. If it comes down to it, only 32% of the people that said yes would actually help. I'm satisfied with my country. When it was COVID, 33% said yes. 20% of the 33 was a confident yes. The Beirut explosion, for me, personally, did a big change to our country. 5% say they're satisfied. Only 2% of the 5 are confident of that yes. Look at the difference between COVID and Beirut explosion, the statistics. And it's telling a story right here. It's telling a story that, and this is why we had suddenly a lot of people just leaving the country, right? People will soon go back to their normal life. With COVID, 81% said yes. 50% said fast yes. So that's system 1. That's what came out. But with the Beirut explosion, 39% and only 9% said fast yes. So again, after the Beirut explosion, it changed big time. I believe Beirut will rise from its ashes like the phoenix. In the COVID, 64% believe that Beirut will rise again and come back as it was. 47% was a very confident yes. But after the Beirut explosion, although 41% said yes, only 20% were confident with that yes. And that's a big, big change. And this says a lot. And actually, we have a publication coming out with respect to that. Yes. Yes. No, I'm saying the difference between Beirut explosion and COVID. Yeah. Yes. It's so the percentage is but to begin with, the number is changing. Yeah. To begin with, the number is changing actually. I see what you mean. That if it's only, the difference between them is actually the same. I see what you mean. But as a number of participants, it's different. Yeah. So memory does not operate like a video or a recorder. What we remember is those moments that really took a toll on us. This is like something we cannot forget. This is why with the Beirut explosion, consciously we might not be talking about it and we might be saying we're okay. But our research shows that Lebanese that are in Lebanon and those who are outside Lebanon, having watched on the news, were equally affected. Our brain, if you think of something right now, doesn't know the difference between now or another time. Okay, so I'm going to show an ad that was when I was young.
ذكريات أيام سعيدة لحظات بعيدة عالقلب قريبة مع مين دورتي والولاد صغار غسوا صاروا كبار ذكريات أيام الطفولة أيام الخلونة وعالقلب لأيام النمو الثمينة ميدوا ربيوا الولاد الصغار يتغسوا صاروا صغار.
Why do you think this was such a success at the time? Maybe some of you don't remember it, but why was it such a success? First, if you see the mom, this is a mom-son love, okay, and pride, and you see her at the beginning, we don't know first what this ad is about. She's just watching her son graduate. So at the first few seconds, what have they done? They've emotionally got us, they've hooked us emotionally, we're engaged. Okay, then we're seeing how he's growing up. And at every phase of, I remember my life, I would relate to the different age this person was. When I used to watch it, I was not a graduate yet. That's how far back it goes. Okay, but it holds you emotionally, and then at the end it tells you you do. And you'll never forget it. And you never will. So, last thing about memory and what we really remember is if we close our eyes and think of something, your brain cannot tell the difference whether it's happening in reality or whether it's just in your mind. And that's very strong. A lot of research has been done about that. And one of them is when you actually perceive this bear, this snarling bear, activates your visual, auditory, and emotional systems in the brain. But then later on, when you just think about the bear, what happens? The same areas in your brain are stimulated, right? And you see that sometimes you don't have to live an experience. All you have to do is think about it, and you're actually living it all over again. Okay, so last, with neuromarketing, there was an article that says, with everything we've said about choices and decisions, and the subconscious, and the way it guides our behavior, are we really free? Do we really have a free will? Or is that just a delusion? I mean, sometimes you think you are free, but when you're so much going on that's actually deciding that's making you choose and affecting your choices without your awareness, then I would ask, how free are you? That's just a question. And I'll leave you with this quote: neuromarketing is not manipulation, as some of you will tell me now. It is mindful marketing. It's mindful marketing. I'll leave it up to you. I don't want to tell you what this is. Now time for questions. Do we have a microphone? Yeah. Do you have a question? Yeah. You have a reflect. You can reflect. You can comment. You can ask. Can we have the comment and then the question? Yes.
Thank you so much, Dunia.
Yes.
Maybe two things to reflect on. You mentioned about the emotions. Sometimes even if something happened in the past, and we're so sure of the facts, they say when we revive those memories, we remember the emotions, and sometimes the facts, they're not accurate. So if I tell you something happened with me 10 years ago, maybe those facts didn't really happen, but how I remember them, it's the feelings and the emotions. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing, I don't work in marketing, I work in policy. And my customers, they're very different. They're not consumers, they're government officials, they're policymakers, regulators, those people who are very rigid in terms of thinking. And my rule always is whenever I work with them is yes, provide them with the facts, but what's gonna guide them to make decisions is their heart. So this is why when I train people in policy, I tell them, speak to the mind and to the heart. They need the data, but the minute they make a decision, because they're human beings, it's their emotions, even in policy making, which is a very challenging and tough topic.
Yeah.
So I related so much to this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maya. On just the first comment that you did, we actually don't remember everything. We confabulate. We make up a lot of things to put a storyline, to make up this storyline, you know, that fits in, but we don't remember everything. It's what we felt at the time. It's how the facts made us feel. I totally agree. Thank you for that comment. Yes.
It is true that behavior can be used for good and bad reasons. But if you think of marketing as a way of commercializing a specific product or service, wouldn't that be a case that you are using behavioral manipulation to support a specific entity whose primary goal is to maximize shareholders' value?
Are you saying that us marketeers are liars?
No.
I mean, do we have to wait for marketing to lie? Humans lie all the time. They manipulate all the time. They deceive all the time. I don't think you can wait for marketing. Everything has two sides. Everything has two sides. It depends what you do with the insights that are given to you by neuromarketing. You can decide, for example, for benefit of the consumer to really understand their needs and wants and give it to them, give them value. It's kind of to align, if you want to align your marketing strategy with an ethical purpose, which is part of corporate social responsibility. I'm sorry, a business is there to make a profit. It's to make money. It's for economic maximization, but at the same time, not on the expense of ethics. It should be part of that. It could do it taking in consideration consumer interests. You can have your profit with consumer interests in mind. You can use your marketing for example, user preferences online, content creation. You can use it for, I don't know, education, social initiatives, communication, and you can use it for negative things. It depends, just like everything, just like AI, just like ChatGPT. I tell my students, you can choose ChatGPT to augment your skills, to give you ideas. You can use it to plagiarize and dissipate all there is of your creativity and reflection. What are you going to choose? Two sides to every story. Depends what you do with the insights. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Mom. So, you mentioned earlier that we're not really free because we're always bombarded by different marketing. So every decision we make is like kind of planned. So my question for you is, if you're aware of these strategies, are you free?
Yes. Yes, you are free. You cannot be primed to something you have no desire for. I don't desire, I hate smoking. I don't care how much you do in the context and try to prime me to smoke. By all the initiatives around me, I will never smoke. You need to have a desire to be manipulated, okay, or convinced. However, you also, if you are aware of the priming efforts around you, then it falls. Then it doesn't work anymore. So if I'm aware that that ad is trying to get me to buy something, I'm aware of what they're doing on a conscious level, then I won't fall prey for it. This is why I think teaching neuromarketing is teaching consciousness. It's raising awareness of students so consumers will not be victims of any sort of manipulation. That's the purpose. So it has a good purpose.
But you're not 100% free.
You're never 100% free, and you know when I'm not free? You want to know when I'm not free? When I'm very tired at the end of the day. I'm not so free because my brain doesn't want to put on more cognitive load. So that's where my children would say, Mom, and I would be like, yes, yes, yes. I won't even be listening. They're like, that's a perfect time to ask Mom any question. Because the answer is yes, fiki tani. She's like, Mom, okay, that's when I'm tired. At the end of the day, maybe.
Mama fina ishar.
Lately, okay, yes, Lima. Let me give the microphone to Lima. To Lima in the back.
Okay. So I want to ask, how does system 2 thinking influence the brain's response to stress, and in what ways does it contribute to the familiarity of stressors?
To what? Can you repeat that?
To the familiarity of stressors.
No, from the beginning. To what extent does system 2
influence the brain's response to stress, and in what ways does it contribute to the familiarity of stressors?
Okay, system 2, first of all, if I were merely using system 2, which is rational, to try to understand the non-conscious processes. Okay, so you're trying to tell me how can I use system 2 to kind of balance or reduce my stress levels, since system 1 is the cause of my stress, for example?
Yes.
Okay, system 2 would simply say, I'm aware why this is happening. I'm totally conscious, and I'm going to put on the effort that when those thoughts come in from my subconscious in system 1, okay, I'm not going to allow them. I know what's triggering me, and I'm going to say, I'm going to put like a wall, like an explanation. I know why I feel this way. This mental talk of metacognition, which is called the thinking of your thought processes, which is system 2, would put in place the dynamics of within you somehow. And this is why I always teach you to be present. When you're present in the moment and you're observing your breath, for example, you're not yesterday, you're not last week or years ago, and you're not worried about tomorrow. You're living that moment, which very soon will become a past. And if you do that on a daily basis, then your past would be an accumulation of present moments.
Do you think that there are specific emotions that neuromarketing strategies tend to focus on?
Specific emotions? Of course. The two strongest emotions we know are, what are the two strongest emotions?
Love and hate.
Love and hate. Close. Fear and anger. Fear and anger direct so much, okay? Fear and anger. Sometimes a lot of advertising work by fear, by the way, but that's not the point. Fear and anger. And how is a way to combat those emotions? What's one thing we can do that's been proven that cannot coexist with fear and cannot coexist with anger? You know what it is? It's gratefulness. Do you know that if every day you think of 5 things you're grateful for in your life, that cannot coexist, neither with fear or with anger. Neuromarketing, all emotions, emotional engagement, involvement, connection, love, like she said, aversion, okay, avoidance. We can know in a supermarket when a person is going to choose an object before he or she even knows it. We know what they're going to be choosing before they have made up their mind, simply because of the emotional engagement that we see. All right, thank you. Yes?
I have a question about the fast yes issue.
Yes.
Yes. I have a problem in deciding in a quick way.
Oh, very good question. Thank you for asking it. Before we begin asking you the questions, we measure the pace at which you answer the question. Someone who's 70 years old is not going to answer at the same pace as someone who's 20 years old. Therefore, at the beginning, there is what we call a calibration phase. So we show you something and then you press yes, no, yes, no. So I see the rhythm and pace of you specifically, and then the algorithm does it specifically to your pace from there.
And the survey that you did, the survey.
Yes, the survey that I sent out.
Yes,
As a
different view.
It is a new.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
That you have to
You have to turn your phone around. Yeah, I sent it to all the alumni, by the way. Yes.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes, sure.
Is our subconscious responsible for our mood swings and daydreaming?
What do you?
I don't know, I'm asking you.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course it is. Your subconscious is, if I say your subconscious is responsible for 90% of your choices and decisions, then before your choice and decision, there's a mood, there's an emotion, there's a feeling, there's a perception, there's an attitude. Then you get to a choice, then you get to a behavior. So of course, your subconscious is so powerful. But when you're aware of the dynamics of your subconscious on you, you can take control of your life.
Doctor, if the study of neuromarketing went viral, so everybody knows about it, wouldn't its effect dissolve?
Depends what effect are you talking about.
Especially the effect of marketing.
Actually, no. I see that understanding my consumer in such a way, and the consumer knowing what I'm offering him and what I'm offering her in terms of value exchange, because that's what marketing is about. It's about exchange of value. I would be closer to my consumer. And my consumer would admire the marketeer more because the marketeer is responding to individual needs and preferences and wants.
Yes, but I mean,
They won't go.
if I know that I'm being primed, I
Yes.
can't be primed anymore. So it's actually useless if the consumers know.
It's okay, I want you to know. I'm not going to hide anything from you. This is not behavioral manipulation. This is just a way to reach you and give you what you want. And you want things, don't you? In life. And we're going to give it to you, right? We're just going to understand you better and we're going to cater to you better. Think of it that way. Yes. Yes. Both. Both. Actually, it's exactly what I was trying to tell him right now. That if marketing is an exchange of value, so you have needs and wants as a consumer, and here I am trying to understand what those needs or wants are. I'm going to be catering to them more specifically. And you're aware of any priming efforts that are being done, so you won't fall victim for them. Then it's a two-way communication between us. So it's not manipulation, really. It's just being mindful. It's being aware of what you really want, rather than what you say you want.
Yes, on a more practical way.
Yes.
Neuromarketing takes time. Consumers take time to register emotion and all that. We are in an era where actually the first 5 seconds matter. We are in an era where social media doesn't allow you to introduce the product at the end of the commercial or play on the emotions from the beginning until it reaches the selling the product. How can we react to that? Because to be very honest with you, when I hear about neuromarketing as an old-timer, I think it's perfect in terms of assessment of how to reach the consumer. But today's consumers are faster than us, are faster than emotions, and faster to register or to skip the brand even before having any attachment.
That's a very valid observation, Serge. I agree with what you're saying. However, we know today the focus, the attention span of this generation is way shorter. This is why the ads that were 2 minutes went down to a minute, went down 60 seconds, now they're 30 seconds, now they're even as short as 15 seconds. Which is, we know that. We know to catch their attention, we need to surprise them, shock them, engage them. It's extremely difficult, but at the same time, we're able to understand them using your marketing tools. We're able to see what they like. They like shocking things, okay? They like to scroll down really fast. They like to see things vertically, not horizontally. See, those insights that we get as a result of using eye track and EEG are making us put in use, okay, the exact things that they want, to understand user preference and give it to them that way. It's different than our generation. With every generation, there's a lot of change. And to kind of stay at pace with this change, we can use those tools. Because if we understand them, we can work around that too. Yeah. Yes, you can.
So concerning the current era, first, the ad is different since you focus on 3 seconds to grab attention, and then after that comes the copy and the website copy where you can implement, for example, free, let's say it's a hair product, Do you fear having split ends? So this grabs the attention, and then if someone is interested, they're gonna go down the funnel, and eventually they're gonna convert. But it's not as fast as it was before. Like when you just see an ad on TV and then you go buy the product. The consideration is more, but you have more tools in order to implement that. So yeah.
My marketing student, alumni now.
They're not yet in the field to understand the reality. The reality is you might have many marketing tools, but in the end, the communication media has become so fast that actually not even the primary message passes through. 3 seconds is so fast that you cannot actually go and say, do you feel split ends? The skills.
That's when your marketing says your first emotional engagement is in 1/100th of a second. It's a millisecond. It's so fast, it's incredible. And then it reaches conscious awareness.
I would also like to add to it.
Yes.
Now Meta and Apple, they can detect, if you see the ad for longer, the engagement is longer, they are able to show you the ad again because you have familiarity. And as she mentioned, the more the familiarity, the more the liking, the more the purchase. So it doesn't have to be from the first time you see the ad for you to actually buy. And as you mentioned, there's a conversion funnel. You go from the ad to the website,
There's a frequency of exposure that's happening. And just like the movie, remember the movie Will Smith? What was the movie called? No, not this one, the number 55. Focus, the movie Focus for Will Smith. So he was seeing like 55 all around, and then he picked it. So that priming, which I didn't really talk about today because I found it too complex for 1 hour, the 1 hour, that's how they do it. Slowly but surely. Yes, your question, please.
Doctor, Edward Bernays, who he, I'm sure you know him.
Yes.
Yeah. Who he used neuromarketing and like through the unconscious like بيعوا للعالم قصص ويطلع بكامبينز وقصص كرمال العالم يشتروا بس he did it unethically. So it was basically manipulation, no?
How unethically?
Unethically يعني he used يعني now بيشير مثلا one of his most known things he did campaign تبعه ليه يشتروا exactly يشتروا cigarettes,
alcohol,
يزيد الwomen على cigarettes بدل ما تكون 50% of the population it became.
I'm not saying that there is not unethical marketing out there, marketing, but I'm not saying that it's not existent. It is, okay? But when consumers become mindful and more aware, they won't be victims to such endeavors. That's the key, okay? So I like to take it from the consumer side. I'm a marketeer. We don't fall victim when we are aware, but it's there. It's reality. Okay. Yes.
Just this small question. Besides the timing of the ad and frequency of exposure of the ad for the consumer, to measure it in terms of neuromarketing, do you add some more elements between digital marketing and its effect and the campaign as a whole as a, let's say, traditional marketing, or where the companies usually nowadays use both at the same time in parallel?
No, you use both in parallel. It's stronger. We use both in parallel, and we put in more neuromarketing tools. We put in like facial coding, facial expressions in the millisecond of how you're feeling with everything that's going on, and we work parallel. That's a lot more, if you want, it has a higher impact.
But the analysis would be separate or as a whole campaign?
No. You get the analysis, like we usually, there are many neuromarketing firms that do that for you. You get the data, the analysis, and then you set the strategy according to the analysis. That's how you work. Okay, welcome. Yes, you had a question?
Hi. Let's say if a new car company, let's say if a new car here? Yeah, let's say a new car company like Mercedes-Benz or Ferrari makes a new muscle car, like it has a 10-cylinder, it goes very fast and everything. Do you think the consumer with a picked system 1 quickly go to the website, ordered it, and put all the specs on it, or system 2 would have taken like a half an hour or an hour thinking about it?
Trust me, if you have $1 billion, you'll go to system 1 to buy all these cars. If you're a millionaire, yeah. But if you're not and you're working hard for your money and this is your dream car and you kind of have to weigh the cost-benefit analysis, so you use system 2. So you want to know more about the features, you want to know more about the car, use system 2. Use system 1 if you are a spender and you can afford it like that.
So basically it depends on the consumer's financial and
First and foremost.
and his emotional connection to that brand.
Of course, even if you're emotionally connected to a Mercedes or a Porsche, Ferrari, you can't afford it. You can't use system 1.
Thank you, doctor.
Yeah, you yes. That is so cute. Curious minds, young, curious minds.
Hello.
Hi.
My question is, where do you think marketing in general and neuromarketing will reach in light of AI and ChatGPT?
Actually, neuromarketing is empowered by AI. If it wasn't for AI, we wouldn't have been where we are today. All the softwares that I use, including reaction time testing, eye tracking, are all empowered by AI algorithms that are enabling me to gain all the consumer insights that I need to direct my marketing strategy. So in the age of AI, it's directly, if you want, it's a driver for neuromarketing. So the more advanced we are in AI, the more advanced we are in the tools that we use, and the insights that we gain, and the data analysis that we have, and it'll be more effective and efficient in the future. It works with it, not against it.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say that I'm really proud of you. Second thing, I've always had this question in my mind, which is, let's suppose that I am a new company established not long ago, but I'm going or heading towards success. Would I still be able to establish or engrave my name as same as the classical traditional companies that were established, let's say, in the 1,900, whatever, I don't know. Is it still for now a possibility to like create such big names such as Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Dior, for example?
Not so easy. Not so. When we say like so much products fail, it's not just a product. Products that come in. I mean, those are products within famous brand names. So we have product extensions of famous brands that fail. And that's an established brand. So if you want to tell me you want to start a new brand and a new product, consumers subconsciously distrust novelty. They like it, they're intrigued by novelty, but they distrust it. You're going to have to work very fast. You're going to have to link it to a heritage, to a story, to something, okay? Unless it's a life changer, what you've done. So it's not as easy, okay? So if established brands find it difficult, how about if it's something totally new? It's not going to be easy, and that's why the majority of startups and new products and businesses fail. It's a reason for it. Yes, hello. Thank you.
Do you think neuromarketing should be part of a business plan?
Yes. Yes. I think if neuromarketing is part of a business plan, you would be saving a lot on the money that you squander doing just traditional research.
Because I think neuromarketing is the gap that business plan is missing.
You're right. You're definitely right. Okay, so if we have the tools right now to really understand consumers, let's not just assume by what they say, right? It's not enough. We don't really understand ourselves as much as we think we do. Yes.
Thank you.
I'll give you an example. Yeah, I would be giving you samples. I might give you like a reaction test, that how they use it. We go in more specifics. Oh, by the way, when students take neuromarketing course with me, a lot of them come for recommendations to do a master's in neuromarketing.
Yeah, that's hard, and it's only in Spanish.
Don't. Don't. Why? Because neuromarketing as a specialty, you were going to be in like a room, like a data scientist, with the tools and with data around you and analyzing. Is that what you want to do? And they're like, no, no. I said, then don't do a master's in neuromarketing, because you're going to go specifically into the tools that measure. Do you want to do that? Then they say no. See? You can do consumer behavior using in one experiment. We can use neuromarketing tools.
They
but
can
have
do,
very different questions. For
they can
example,
do-
I have used reaction time testing right now to test the online experience of students, whether they liked it, whether they learned from the online. I did that with them. I can do many studies using neuromarketing tools. It's
They
not
can
just
do
about
behavior
marketing.
economics
Sorry?
instead.
Behavioral
Yes,
economics.
that's what they can do.
Yes.
Masters.
Today in management, we are understanding employees by using neuromarketing tools. How do you really feel about your boss? Or how do you feel about the workplace? Are you satisfied? Yes, yes, I'm satisfied. We do neuromarketing, and oh my God, we get a lot of insights. They're not as happy as they say they are. You see? And we take those insights with an open spirit and say, how can we make this workplace, more
Yes, that's the big
satisfying?
question, how to analyze them and use them in the market.
Yes.
Doctor?
Yes.
Are there,
Last question.
are there strategies that would be employed to build trust with neuromarketing
Are there strategies to be built to make,
that are employed?
yeah, to build more
Build
trust?
More trust in neuromarketing?
Yes. I'm part of the Neuromarketing Science Business Association, which is made of professors and researchers from around the world that publish in high-ranking journals like Oxford Press and MIT and Cambridge, and they're very credible. So when we add validity and reliability to the insights that we're gathering, because the research that was done by people that are true scientists, then that would add towards the trust and the image and credibility of what neuromarketing is about. Okay? It's not just somebody publishing a novel, those are
Thank
scientists.
you.
So that's validity and reliability.
Dr. Harajli, thank you so much
Thank
for this interesting review. And we have requests from
Yes.
people online, from alumni online, who
Oh.
are asking for part 2 and part 3. So what should we tell them?
لما بدكم.
Thank you.
I'm always ready. Thank
Thank you so much. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you.